All right. So personally, for me, even if I wasn't wearing this shirt, I think that Bitcoin has bottomed. I mean, I think that 17,600, that was the low for this cycle. And we're going to steadily see movements that push it increasingly first to, of course, all of the milestones that you're going to see on any publication, on any website, 25,000, and then it'll be 30, and then it'll be 35, and then, of course, the big one, 50. But the really big one to me is obviously the old high. In my way of seeing the world, what you want to see in a bull market is people willing to pay rising prices. So you want to see that rising prices. So obviously from 17,600 to the old high of 69,000, we're going to have to see a process of rising prices. But then what we want to see is people willing to buy at new highs, at rising highs. In other words, once we get to 69, that there is a strong, steady, large market for people who are willing to pay 70 and then 71 and 72 and 73 and 74 and 75. And if you think about this way of looking at markets, it makes sense because what is a bull market in the end? A bull market is a market in which you see rising prices, steadily rising prices. And I've told you on this channel in various of my writings that many people never actually step back and think, well, how do rising prices happen? I mean, do they happen by some committee agreeing to set the price each day? Is there some magical, mystical process that where from the heavens the prices just sort of like descend? Or does it happen as a result of human beings coming day after day and being willing to buy at rising prices? In other words, some person has to actually commit to buying Bitcoin, Ethereum, whatever crypto that you're a fan of, believe in. Somebody's got to come and buy that at ever rising prices. And as they do that, the folks that currently own it have to believe that there are enough of the folks that want to buy that they are not going to dump their shares. They're not going to sell their shares. They're not going to be like, so that's the essence of a bull market. And so if I look at Bitcoin in particular, and in the long term, to me, and I know there's other theories about, the flippening of how Ethereum will be more valuable than Bitcoin, and maybe that's going to be uh, what happens maybe in the long term. However, in the short term, I think that Bitcoin is going to be the largest cryptocurrency for a very, very long time. So where Bitcoin goes, crypto is going to follow. Bitcoin is the head and crypto is the body, and it's going to go in that direction. So I focus a lot of my analysis in terms of crypto and the crypto market on Bitcoin, because if Bitcoin is set up for rising prices, and I believe it is, and I've laid out why, which is that when you have a liquidation driven by bankruptcy, which we had, which is that these companies, Celsius, Voyager, this hedge fund company, Three Arrows Capital, when they declared bankruptcy, there was a forced sale of lots of crypto, including Bitcoin. In other words, there was a requirement that Bitcoin be sold at that moment at whatever price that somebody was willing to buy it at. And of course, during periods of liquidation, those are often periods of panic. Nobody wants to buy dirt cheap prices, but nobody wants to buy. So that often sets the low because the folks that are willing to buy at those low prices, they got they don't just have strong hands. I mean, they got some. Well, I don't know if I'm going to go there on this channel in terms of what they got, but you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, they got some. Yeah. Um, so those folks were buying at 17,600. I can personally tell you that I was watching that liquidation process going on, because of course, you can see a lot of this happen in real time if you're watching wallets get liquidated. And I put an order in, and of course, like any other person, like instead of visualizing new highs, like I'm talking about now at 17,800 or 18,000, I began to visualize much lower prices. And that's what I mean by the fact that to buy in bulk, to buy in mass quantity, thousands of Bitcoin, as prices are just being plunged down low. Yeah, you gotta have some guts, some courage, some conviction, some belief, some strong hands, and the other things that I won't mention on the channel. So to me, that sets the low. That sets the low. That's a liquidation sale. That's the low sale. I don't think we're getting back there again. And I've read all the theories that are out there as to why Bitcoin has to test 10,000 or 12,000, and I've seen the line drawings and the support and resistance. That's all fine. I'm going to go with my theory. I think 17,600, that's the low. So then the question becomes like, hey, so like, what's the process by which we're going to get to all the milestones, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. And then obviously 69, and then we got to cross 69, and then we got to go higher. And I wish I had a magic crystal ball to tell you this is exactly what is going to happen. But instead, I'm just going to point out something, which is that in 2020, we had Bitcoin crash to like 3,000-ish dollars, something like that range. And yet by the end of the year, it had gone up, 10 plus fold. So no one would have imagined COVID, the pandemic, eventually leading to Bitcoin going to 3,000, and then to the price that it eventually got to by year end, which was, so much higher than all the folks who were selling at 3,000. So from 17,600, where can we go? Well, in my Substack, I recently said, well, I think that Bitcoin could be at 50,000 come year end. And I don't think that's a big stretch. I think that's highly doable because most of the activity around Bitcoin recently has been about really all the things that are affecting our stocks, growth stocks. If they're about inflation, interest rates, recession. And it does look like inflation is peaked or peaking somewhere in that range, and short-term interest rates are peaked or peaking. And if that's the case, then all the folks that have been selling Bitcoin, shorting Bitcoin, they're going to have to come and buy it to cover those bets on it going down. And that's going to be a kind of reverse move to what happened in a liquidation, which is what happened in May. So I am very BOP, bullish, optimistic, positive on Bitcoin. I won't throw out my gigantic big prediction. All right, I'll mention it, 250,000, but not for 2023. Not for 2022, sorry. 2023 and beyond, well, hey, big numbers are coming. That much I believe in. So I am BOP on Bitcoin, BOP on crypto in general. So if you like this video, hey, give us a thumbs up, subscribe, come back next week. This is Paul saying bye.